Welcome to the initiative.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the initiative. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys again. I know it's been a couple of weeks since my last video. It's because I was like really overwhelmed with school. But we had this awesome war table come out yesterday where we got a deep dive at Kate Bishop, and we even got a tease at what the Hawkeye story is going to be in the future as well. So lots of really cool info here, and I actually recorded a video on it yesterday, but I was rambling so much that I was like, there's no way I can't post this. Like, this is so disorganized. So I'm gonna be organized here in what I talk about. First, we're gonna talk about the three biggest story things that I got out of it, and then we're also just gonna appreciate the really sick Kate Bishop gameplay after that, right? So going on to the story stuff that we learned. Okay, we got this freaking awesome, massive surprise reveal of Maestro Hulk in the game, which I think is great because I think the game needs surprises like this to really build hype. You know, I like a lot of people are asking for roadmaps. But I think roadmaps are like a blessing and a curse because on the one hand, you always know what's happening next, right? So that's not particularly a great way to surprise people and keep them on their toes, right? And I think that's important, right? So I think this Maestro reveal was really cool because I don't think anyone expected Maestro to be a character in this game. I think people thought oh, maybe it'd be a Hulk skin, but not an actual contributor to the story, right? So seeing him like this was very cool. I like him sitting in front of the Kree Sentry, right? That makes him look so badass. And then, of course, we also got technically our first official look at the Black Panther costume here. We had seen the costume leaked in concept art online, and I didn't cover it because I was like, maybe I should be respectful to the game and the developers and just not cover it till it's officially revealed. But I've seen so many Avengers YouTube channels and Twitter people cover it at this point that I'm maybe I might as well. And just to give my thoughts on it, I really love this design. Actually, I think it's a really cool way to mix things up. I love the golden eyes. I love the edges on the armor. You can see how it's kind of has these edges, right? And I think that's really interesting. I don't know. I just like it. I think it's interesting also that he has a Panther logo on his chest. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Black Panther design. I think that's the biggest thing that sets it apart. Obviously he's a little armored and maybe a lot of people aren't used to that. I've seen Black Panther wear armor in the comics a lot, so that doesn't really throw me off or anything. In fact, when this costume was first revealed, my first thought was, oh, it kind of looks like Man Without Fear Black Panther. That's kind of cool. I think he's a lot more armored though, but either way, point is Black Panther looks cool. I like it. And we finally get to see his helmet in the game, so maybe we'll get more teases like this. Of course, moving on from Maestro and Black Panther, right, we also got to see more of the Kree Sentry in this trailer, which is very, very cool. I really want to eventually have a boss fight with a Kree Sentry, right? And I assume that won't happen to the Captain Marvel DLC or something like that, because I don't know, that sounds like a big event, right? I don't think they'll just put this in the Kate Bishop expansion and then tease Super Adaptoid instead. I think this is just a story cameo, to build suspense and thrill, right? So we see Kree Sentry here, and I assume this is Monica going to the future and seeing a future where everything is destroyed by the Kree Sentries. And I think that because not only do we see Monica standing right there in front of the Kree Sentry, but we also see a second Kree Sentry in the background. If you pause the video at just the right time, you can see a second Kree Sentry in the background. And I think that's a dead giveaway that this is not the past, because we haven't seen two Kree Sentries in the past, right? So I'm assuming this is in the future, and maybe the Kree responded to the Kree Sentry's beacon at the end of the game and came over and wrecked everything, which is very cool, very cool. So I really like seeing that. And speaking of things I want to see in the future, that would of course include Ultron, and thankfully in this trailer we got a whole bunch of new Hank Pym content, which I love. I love Hank Pym in this game. I'm really so grateful and excited to see so much Hank Pym, because I think the MCU really, they kind of did Hank Pym dirty. They didn't let him be the one to create Ultron. They made him super old, basically taking out of the action completely. But here in this universe, he's getting the right treatment. This is John Byrne, Hank Pym, and I'm loving it. I can't wait to see his character develop and change over time, and eventually hopefully create Ultron too. So I'm glad we're getting more of him as well in this expansion. So those are like the biggest story related things that I wanted to talk about from the Kate Bishop Deep Dive War Table. But now I just want to talk about Kate Bishop herself, her gameplay, and like the cool Super Adaptoid boss fight that we kind of get to see here. So let's go ahead and talk about that Super Adaptoid boss fight, because all I really have to say about that is Super Adaptoid looks cool and this looks kind of challenging. I mean, these Adaptoids up here, those guys are the worst, man. Those guys are so annoying. So like, I mean, like, I know I'm saying it like I'm annoyed, but you know, challenge is good. Challenge excites me. So it's cool that I'm gonna have to fight two of those and the Super Adaptoid and some drones at the same time, I guess. And you can see that one of these drones is those drones that like protect the enemies. So this looks like a really challenging fight, to be honest, and that like scares me, but it also excites me because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have so much fun like yelling at my teammates to help me, you know. So very cool boss fight here. That looks exciting. I'm very excited about that. And now let's talk about Kate Bishop herself. Finally, save the best for last, right? And Kate looks great, I have to say. I was not very excited for Kate. I thought, oh well, maybe her story expansion would be cool. I've never been a huge fan of her in the books. I was more so looking forward to Hawkeye, but now my thoughts are instead of my thoughts being like, well, I'll skip Kate and like wait for Hawkeye. Now my thoughts are, oh my gosh, how is Hawkeye gonna top this? Because Kate Bishop's gameplay looks incredible. She looks like such a great support character to have on the field, and seeing all her abilities really made me think like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to main this character. Well, not main, but I'm gonna have to max her out. You know, I want to have her like, you know, really like powerful, so if I ever need to like use her in a team situation online, like I'm ready. I can provide that support as Kate Bishop, because look, she's got all these abilities that I think would be really helpful in a team situation online, right? Like she's got the smoke screen stun damage arrows, which I think is awesome, because you could really set up your teammates to do a bunch of takedowns that way, right? Like shoot the guys with a smoke screen arrow, the stun damage goes up, all of a sudden you got like 3 enemies that you can take down. Boom, that's super helpful right there on its own, but that's not even her best ability, right? I mean, she's got the decoy, which like distracts enemies, which is again another cool support ability, and then she's got the scatter arrows, which I think are really cool because it does like a lot of AoE damage, right? Like you can really clear crowds, like how they say in the war table. I think that's really cool. It looks pretty too, but I think the coolest one that I really like to see here was the wormhole ability that she has. I think that's really awesome, guys. Like I'm really into like team like gameplay, like feeling like a team, like helping each other out. Like when you use like an ability as Thor that like heals your teammates, right? I think in his specialty skill tree you can upgrade like pretty much like the Odin Force and the Bifrost one to heal your teammates when you use them, right? And I think those are really cool abilities. So having Kate have an ability like the wormhole, where she can create a portal to help like her allies traverse through the world, right? I think that's super helpful. Like just I can imagine like being in a multiplayer scenario when like you're like under heavy fire and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta escape, and then the guy playing as Kate Bishop is like, don't worry bro, and he like opens a portal so you can escape with him and like get out of harm's way for a bit. Like, oh my gosh, I really dig that. I love her support ability. She seems like such a fun character and useful character to have. So I'm very excited to play as her actually, and I did not really see that coming. I also didn't see coming like how funny and likable she was in the trailer. Kind of like Kamala Khan, like this was a character that I thought had potential, but I was never like super a fan of how they did her in the books. But they seem like they have really like, yeah, just really nailed it. Like I'm actually really liking her character. So again, I'm just very impressed, and I'm very happy with how this award table turned out. So that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of the Kate Bishop deep dive and how you're feeling. Are you excited for December? Is the game dead? Is the game going to stay dead? What do you think? I really hope this expansion comes out and does well, and people continue to support this game, because I just really love how it represents the Marvel Universe, and I also just really love the gameplay. So let me know how you guys are feeling. Let me know if you're excited. I'll definitely be covering the Kate Bishop expansion once it comes out. Like I'll record the gameplay and everything. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to see, and have a great day.